across Del Mar, but for some, I should say, today is the first day of school. I hope you had a good day of school. You're probably just coming home. Hey, did you meet anybody special? Perhaps an SRO? Okay, maybe this person next to me looks familiar. We have Officer Scisco with the Rehoboth Beach Police Department. Thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
Of course. So, like I mentioned, you're with Rehoboth Beach Police, but you are an SRO. For people who don't know what that means or what it stands for, what is it?
Sure, SRO is pretty much a school resource officer. So my duties and responsibilities is in the morning, I welcome the kids to school. And throughout the day, I make rounds throughout the school, make sure that everyone's being safe, doing what they're supposed to be doing. I interact with the staff, interact with the students, and then at the end of the day, I help the staff get the kids on the bus and off to their parents.
Amazing. And that must be a really rewarding job. Do you have any favorite parts or a story you want to share about why you decided to become an SRO?
So I started my career back in 2013 with the City of Lewis Police Department, and over the years there's a school there. It used to be the Richard Shields Elementary School, now it's just the Lewis Elementary School. I used to go in there during lunch hours and hang out with the students there, and that's kind of where I started to get my love for interacting with the youth of Delaware. And then in 2020, I applied to the Rehoboth Beach Police Department to be their SRO. It was a newly created position that they had. So I jumped on the opportunity to do that, and it's been very rewarding since then. I think probably some of my favorite parts throughout the day is going to interact with the students during lunch and during recess, because that's when you really get to see the kids just kind of be themselves and shine in every single way.
Definitely, and I think there's been a lot of talk, especially, we've had it on the news, on Coast TV News recently, but really all across the country, talk of security guards in schools. But you are police officer, you do this with Rehoboth Beach all year round. How do you balance both jobs, I would say, with your career?
Sure, so primarily, like I'm employed by the City of Rehoboth as a police officer, so that's my main responsibility is as a police officer. And during the school year, I'm assigned to the school, Rehoboth Elementary School. That's my building. There's other SROs throughout the Cape District, and even some parents are going to also see constables coming in as well. So everyone's going to have their own responsibility. And then in the summertime, I go back on the road patrolling as a rotating shift. So I pretty much have the best of both worlds when it comes to that.
Definitely. And I know you and I were talking earlier, I loved my school resource officer in high school. To this day, I think a lot of us, when we're talking, we're like, oh, do you remember Officer Larson? It was really cool making that connection. Is that something you get with the kids?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just in the school, it follows me outside of the school too. I have a son who's 10 years old and another son who's 8 years old. They both play Pop Warner this year. And there's kids from Rehoboth Elementary that are on their team, so I get to interact with them, not just in the school, but they see me in a different light too. They get to see me as a dad.
That's so cool. I bet that's really special for them as well to see, sometimes police officers can be intimidating to maybe young kids.
The uniform can be very much like, I don't want to go near this guy, but it's the important thing is, as an SRO, one of the main things I try to do is have the staff and the students see an officer as a different light, someone that is approachable. They don't have to be afraid to come and talk to.
That's incredible, and I can tell that you really do find this rewarding. Is there anything you want students watching? Like we said, we're just starting the school year. Anything you want students watching at your school or any others that you just want them to know about you or your job?
I just, I take my job very seriously. I love seeing you guys every day and being able to get you guys in and out of school safely. That's my main priority. So just listen to mom and dad too.
That's exactly it. Listen to mom and dad. All right, I wanted to ask you just kind of one fun question. We had a school principal on the other week, and we were like, okay, we talked about what you do in school. What about outside of school? Again, police officers, sometimes you get a little intimidated. So what does like a Saturday night look like for Officer Scisco?
A Saturday night is just me hanging out at home with my boys and loved ones and just kind of really enjoying the family time. And sometimes, in the off season, it's nice to be able to get down to Funland with not all the visitors around. So we'll probably hit a couple more trips to Funland and things along those lines. But yeah, pretty much just spending time with family and loved ones.
That's amazing. I think a lot of people can relate, right? That's probably what a lot of us are doing on a Saturday night. Amazing, Officer Scisco. Well, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I really
appreciate
it.
Of course, you have really an incredible job, and I can tell just by talking to you that you love what you do.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course. Hey, make sure you say hi if you see him, and listen to your mom and dad, okay? We have some more Coast Life on the way. Don't go anywhere. watching Coast Life, and we are back with Officer Scisco from the Rehoboth Beach Police Department. I know we just spoke with him about a couple things with his SRO position, but I also know that there's a lot of questions people want to know about police officers. So real quick, we are just going to ask Officer Scisco here some questions that might be on your mind. The first, this is actually our photographer wanting to know this. How much does your equipment weigh?
Yeah, so depending on what I carry, it's anywhere between 20 to 25 pounds, belt and vest and all.
That's okay. I think so. I don't have kids. Hey Jeff, is that more than like what a pregnant woman would? I don't know.
When I was pregnant, no. Yes.
That's a lot. Does it, when you put it on each day, are you like does it weigh you down?
You know, it doesn't necessarily weigh me down because when I put it on, I get a little bit of sense of pride in it, so I stand up a little bit straighter. Now, when I get that relief is when I take it off at the end of the day and I take the 20 to 25 pounds off. That's when I'm like, all right, I can move better again.
I could not imagine carrying an extra 25 all day. Okay, that's impressive. And so if someone is watching this, especially the kids, because you work with kids, and they are like, that's cool, I want to do that, what should they start doing? What advice do you have for them?
Pretty much just try to keep yourself out of trouble. Do well in school. If you want to get involved in your community and see if that's what you have a knack for, there's organizations that kids can volunteer for, that their parents can help them out with too. So, and that's a good way to see if you really like to get involved in your community. Perfect.
At what age would you say people should start thinking about it? If elementary schoolers, if they think I could be a cop, high school?
Well, see, that's the thing. At any age, if you think you want to be a police officer, it's never too early to help people and get involved and help other people's lives. So if you think you want to do something along those lines, you can do that. We've had kids in the elementary school raise money for charities, so it's never too late if that's something you want to do.
That's really incredible. And I know you mentioned that you've been doing this for a couple of years now, working with the school. This is kind of for the parents. How have schools, maybe even the students, changed in the last 4 years?
Well, I think just given the climate of things sometimes, like the summer of 2020, there was a lot of tension around there. So that's when I first started in the Rehoboth Elementary School. And to be perfectly honest, I was a little apprehensive coming in there because I wasn't sure how some of the students and the staff and their parents would take to me, but it's been phenomenal. And every year, I think the kids get a little more welcoming and just love having me there, and I love being there with them.
Have you learned a lot more TikTok trends since working in a school?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what it is. TikTok trends is what the older kids, the 4th and 5th graders, that they love talking about. So, and it's good too. Like I mentioned before, I have a 10-year-old and an 8.5-year-old, so they keep me hip to what's going on, so I can use that information to seem cooler to the kids at the school.
I love that, and you already said keep me hip, so you're getting the lingo.
Yeah, right.
Have you been asked to do a TikTok dance while in uniform?
I think the kids, actually the kids last year, there's a couple 5th graders that liked when I did the gritty during lunchtime. So every now and then I'd hit the gritty for them at lunch.
That's awesome. Can you show us?
The gritty?
I don't know what the gritty is. You might be cooler than me.
So essentially what it is you score a touchdown and you're really happy about it. There's your gritty.
Wait, that was perfect. That was so well done too, and now once you did it, I knew what the gritty was.
Yep, exactly. You might have heard it, but then once you see the moves, you're good to go.
That is so funny. I'm so glad we asked this. I think you are, actually I know you are, the first person to gritty on CoastLife.
Oh, that's good.
You get that honor.
I made some history.
You did. History was made today. So if you have Officer Scisco here as your SRO, you're very lucky. And I want to go to school with you, of course. Well, thank you for being here and for entertaining us as well. Our questions, the serious ones and the kind of funny ones.
Absolutely, anytime.
Thank you. All right, well, don't say that. We'll definitely have you back.
Absolutely.
But we're not going anywhere right now. More Coast Life.